breathe in and out. You are safe. You are still. Tonight, we are going somewhere far away, a place that has always been there, just past the edge of sleep. It is called Pywel, and we are going there now. Pywel is a very large place, larger than any map can fully show, larger than any one person could ever walk in a single lifetime. It has green fields that stretch so far you cannot see where they end. It has mountains with snow at the top that never melts, even in summer. It has deserts made of deep red sand that glow like fire at sunrise and cool slowly in the night. It has cities with tall stone walls and narrow streets and the sounds of many people living their lives all at once. And it has quiet places too. Forests where the only sound is wind moving through leaves. Mountain paths where the only sound is your own feet on old stone. Open plains where the grass moves in slow waves and the sky above goes on forever. Pywel is a world full of all kinds of things. And tonight, we are going to move through it slowly, with no hurry, with nowhere to be. Just looking, just breathing, just resting. Let your body settle a little deeper into wherever you are right now. Let your arms fall heavy. Let your legs go soft. You do not need to hold anything up right now. You do not need to be ready for anything. Just let the weight of the day leave you slowly. With every breath out, a little more goes. With every breath in, you bring in something quieter, something slower, something that belongs to the dark and to rest, and to this moment, exactly as it is. We begin in the south, in a place called Hernan. Hernan is the greenest part of Pywel. It has wide open fields of soft grass that move in the wind like something breathing. It has thick forests with trees so tall their tops disappear into low clouds on cool mornings. It has rivers that move slowly and catch the afternoon light in long, broken lines of gold. The people of Hernan have been here for a very long time, long enough that the roads between their towns are worn smooth, long enough that the old stone buildings feel like they grew up out of the ground on their own, long enough that the trees planted by people long dead have grown so large no single person can wrap their arms around the trunk. If you walked into a small town in Hernan tonight, you would hear the sounds of a place winding down for the evening, doors closing softly, fires being banked low, the distant sound of a pot being set aside in a kitchen somewhere, children being called in from wherever they had wandered off to, cats settling onto warm window ledges, dogs finding their spots on cool floors. The streets would be mostly empty, just the occasional lamp burning in a window, just the sound of wind moving through a narrow lane between two old buildings. The air in Hernan smells like earth and leaves and something warm and baked from early in the day. It is a comfortable smell, an old smell, the kind of smell that makes you feel, without being able to explain why, that things are okay, that the world is in its right place, that you are too. The towns of Hernan are small. Most of them have a main road, a market square, a place where people gather, and then streets that branch off from there and get quieter the further out you go. At the edge of town, where the last houses are, the land opens up again. Fields, the sound of water somewhere, the dark line of the forest in the distance. In the homes of Hernan tonight, people are doing the last small things of the day, putting out lamps, folding something, checking on someone sleeping in another room, moving slowly in the way people move when they are tired and the day is done. And there is nothing left that needs doing tonight. These are ordinary people. They are farmers and merchants, and craftspeople, and teachers, and people who do work that does not have a simple name. They worry about their children and their harvests, and the state of the road between their village and the next one. They have good days and hard days and days that are neither. They fall asleep and wake up and do it all again. And somewhere in all of that, they find the things that make it worth doing. A meal shared, a piece of news that is good instead of bad for once. The sound of rain on a roof when you are already inside and already warm. The moment when a child who has been sick for days finally sits up and asks for something to eat. These are the things that Hernand is made of, underneath all the politics and the old houses and the long history. Small things, real things, things that do not need to be remembered to have mattered. Breathe in and out. Let your body settle a little heavier into wherever you are lying. Let your arms relax. Let your legs go soft. You do not need to hold anything right now. In Hernan, there are very old forests. The trees in these forests are enormous. Their trunks are wider than a house. Their roots stretch out across the ground in every direction, thick and smooth and covered in soft moss. When you walk between them, the light changes. Outside the forest, it might be bright afternoon, but inside, the canopy is so thick that everything goes green and soft and dim, like being underwater, but warm, like being inside something very large and very old that is quietly holding you. The sounds change, too, when you go deep into the forest. The wind does not reach the ground here. Everything is very still. You can hear small things very clearly. A bird somewhere far above, calling once and then going quiet. A beetle moving through dry leaves. Water from a stream you cannot yet see, moving quietly somewhere nearby. The sound of your own breathing. The forest does not feel threatening. It feels old. Old in the way that very old places feel, like it has been here through everything, like it will be here long after everything. There is a kind of peace in that, standing in a place that is much older than you, and knowing that it does not need anything from you. You can just be there. You can just look up at the light coming through the leaves, very far above. You can just breathe. You can let the quiet do what quiet does, which is hold you without asking for anything in return. Breathe in and out, in and out. The Greymanes have rested in forests like this before, pulled off the road at the end of a long day and made camp between the roots of old trees, built a small fire, laid out their bedrolls on soft ground, listened to the forest settle around them as the light faded. The Greymanes are the group at the center of this world, a band of fighters who have traveled Pywel together for many years. They are not a noble house. They do not serve any king or lord. They are mercenaries, which means they take work where they can find it, fight when they need to, and move on when the job is done. But they are more than that, much more. They have been together long enough that they know each other in the way only people who have gone through hard things together can know each other. They eat together. They sleep side by side. They have watched each other in moments of fear and in moments of rest. They know how each person takes their food. They know who sleeps lightly and who sleeps deeply. They know whose mood shifts when the weather turns cold. They know who needs quiet in the morning before they can talk. They know who needs company after a hard day, or they will sink into themselves. They know the small things, the important things, the things you only know about a person after a long time. They are a family, not because of blood, but because of time and choice and showing up again and again on the days when showing up is hard. The Gray Mane camp has a rhythm to it. It does not need to be organized. It just is. When they stop for the night, each person knows what they do, who sets up where, who handles the fire, who checks the horses, who does a last walk around the edge of the camp before everyone settles. These things were never formally decided. They just became the way things were done. Slowly, over many nights on the road, the way most things become what they are. Not because anyone planned it, just because people found their place and stayed there. The camp is not a grand place. It is a circle of tents, sometimes a small shelter, always a fire, but it is theirs. And after a long day on hard roads through a world that is frequently dangerous and rarely forgiving, having a place that is yours matters more than almost anything. Their leader is a man named Cliff. Cliff is not a large man. He is not the kind of man who fills a room when he walks in. He is quiet in the way that people who have seen a lot tend to be quiet. He moves carefully. He listens more than he speaks. But when he does speak, people pay attention. Not because he is loud, not because of who he is or where he comes from, but because he says what he means. He does not add things to make himself sound more important. He does not take away things to soften a hard truth. He just says the thing. And you know when he says it, that it is the whole thing. He has been looking after other people for a very long time. He has carried the weight of keeping others safe for so many years that it no longer feels like a weight to him. It just feels like what he does, like the way some people are simply good at being steady when other people need something steady to hold on to. With him is a man named Unka. Unka is large and steady. He does not talk much. He does not need to. When Unka is near, people feel safer, not because of anything he says, just because of the way he stands, the way he is always there, solid, present, like a wall between the people he cares about and whatever might be coming. He has a slowness to him that is not laziness. It is more like patience, like a mountain that has no reason to hurry. There is also Yan. Yan is quick in the way he moves, quick in the way he thinks. He notices things before others do. A door that was open earlier and is now closed. A face in a crowd that appears twice when it should only appear once. A sound that does not quite belong with the other sounds. He remembers roads he has only traveled once. He remembers names and faces from years ago. People he met briefly in passing and never saw again. He carries a kind of map inside his head, not just of the roads and paths of Pywel, but of everything he has seen and heard and stored away for later. He is always, quietly, adding to it. And there is Naira. Naira is the one who holds things together when they start to come apart. She sees people clearly. Not just who they are right now, but who they could be. She knows when someone needs space and when they need company. She knows when to speak and when to sit quietly beside someone and not say anything at all. She knows when a group of people who are pretending everything is fine actually need someone to say out loud that everything is not fine right now, and that is okay. In any group of people, there is usually one person who is the reason everyone else stays. Naira is that person for the Gray Manes. Together, the four of them have walked a great deal of this world. They have camped in forests and on mountain passes, and in the middle of open fields, under skies full of stars. They have eaten meals at the end of long days that tasted better than anything because of how hungry and tired they were. They have told the same stories to each other more than once and laughed at them anyway. They have been rained on and cold and too hot and lost and found again. They have been confused and afraid and very tired and not sure what comes next.
Good day.
And they have always come back to the same thing. The fire at the center of the camp. The familiar sound of people they trust, breathing slowly in the dark. The knowledge that whatever tomorrow brings, they will face it together. Let your breathing slow down now. Feel the warmth of wherever you are. Your bed, your blanket, the soft weight of everything pressing gently down. You are very comfortable right now. You do not need to go anywhere. You do not need to do anything. Far to the north of Hernand, the land changes. The green gives way to gray and white. The air gets colder. The trees get shorter and further apart. And then, eventually, they stop altogether. And then, the mountains begin. This is Pywel. Pywel is where the Greymanes come from. It is their homeland, a cold and beautiful place, where the peaks are so high they catch the clouds and hold them, where the snow never fully leaves, even in the warmest months, where the wind comes down from the north, carrying a sharpness that wakes you up instantly and reminds you very clearly and immediately that you are alive. The people of Pywel are tough without making a show of it. They have learned to live in a place that makes everything harder. The cold that you have to build against. The short summers that you have to spend months preparing for. The long winters that ask more of you than you sometimes feel you have to give. But they have also learned something else. That hard places are full of a particular kind of beauty. A beauty that does not announce itself. That asks you to be paying attention in order to see it. A mountain at dawn, when the first light hits the snow on the high peaks and turns it gold and pink before the valleys below have woken up. A frozen lake in the deep of winter, perfectly still, the sky reflected in it so clearly that standing at its edge feels like standing at the edge of the sky. A fire inside a stone building, while the wind outside does everything it can to get in. The particular warmth of that fire, the particular comfort of being inside, while something wild is outside. The sound of wind against stone, and the fact that the stone is holding. In Pywel, there are paths worn into the rock by many years of people going the same way, up through the passes, down through the valleys, past certain old trees and certain large stones that have become landmarks over many years, known by everyone who travels these roads, pointed out to children the first time they make the journey, given names that have been passed from one generation to the next. If you walked one of these paths tonight, in the dark and the cold, with the stars very clear above you, because the air at this height is thin and clean, you would feel the quiet that mountain places have. A big quiet, not empty, full of old stone and old ice and old sky, full of the weight of how long this place has been here, and how many people have passed through it, and how it has held all of them equally, without preference for any of them, without memory of any of them. Just the mountain, just the cold, just the stars. Breathe in and out. Let your whole body go soft, from the top of your head, across your shoulders, down through your chest and your arms, into your hands, all the way down. Everything soft, everything still. The Greymanes know every part of Pywel. They grew up in this cold. They learned to read the weather by the color of the clouds gathering over the high peaks. They learned which passes stay open in
standing
winter,
here?
and which fill with snow and ice and become impassable for months. They know the names of things here, names that go back a very long time, names given by people who saw something in this place and wanted to mark it, who wanted to say, I was here, I saw this. This place is real, and I will tell you its name. There's a kind of shelter in a name like that, in knowing that a place has been seen and remembered, that you are not the first person to stand somewhere and feel the weight of it, that others have stood in the same spot and looked at the same mountain and felt the same mix of feeling very small and very connected at the same time, and then kept going. Let that settle into you. You are not the first person to lie in the dark and listen to the quiet. Many people, in many places, in many different times, have done exactly this. Breathed slowly, felt the weight of the day leaving them. Let their thoughts go loose and wandering. Let sleep come when it was ready. You are in good company, even now, even in the dark and the quiet, even alone in your room. You're doing the same thing that people have always done at the end of a long day. You are resting.
Were you looking for me?
The people of Pywel understand rest in a particular way. When the winter comes and the snow piles up outside and the nights are very long, there's not much to do but be inside, be still, wait. They have learned to be good at waiting, not a tense, watching kind of waiting. The other kind, the kind where you stop trying to make the time pass faster and instead just let it be what it is. You tend the fire, you eat, you sit with the people who are there. You sleep when you are tired. You wake when you are rested. And the winter passes, as it always has, as it always will. There is a word for what they have learned, though no one in Pywel uses a word for it. It is just the way things are, the way things have always been. You rest when rest is what is needed. And right now, rest is what is needed. Moving east across Pywel, the land changes again. The mountains of Pywel fall away behind you. The air shifts. Things get warmer. The trees change. The soil changes. And eventually you arrive at a place like nowhere else on the continent. A place called Delicia. Delicia is the most advanced part of Pywel, while the rest of the continent lives in a world of swords and stone and fire. Delicia has gone somewhere else entirely. It has machines, large, slow-turning things of metal and gears that click and hum and move with a kind of patience that living things rarely have. Some of these machines tend the fields.
What can I get for you?
They move between rows of crops at dawn, steady and unhurried,
Yes,
doing the same things over and over, with the same care each time. They do not get tired. They do not get bored. They do not think about being somewhere else. They are just there, doing the work, in the quiet of early morning, when the light is still low, and the dew is on everything, and most people are not awake yet. Some of these machines stand in fixed places, turning slowly, tracking something, the movement of the sun, the direction of the wind, something that someone long ago decided needed to be watched and recorded. They have been watching and recording ever since, long after the people who built them are gone, long after anyone can quite remember why these particular things needed watching. But they keep going, because that is what they were made to do. And there's something very peaceful about that, about the idea of something that just keeps doing what it was made to do, quietly, steadily, without needing to be reminded. At night, the machines slow down.
Don't come twice.
Their turning gets slower. Their clicking gets quieter. The hum that runs through Delicia all day fades to something almost below hearing. You can feel it more than you hear it. A very low vibration, like the earth breathing. The lights inside the machines, the soft amber glow that comes from whatever powers them, dims but does not go out. It stays at its lowest, just enough to see that something is there, and the city settles into a kind of rest that is different from the rest of other cities. In other places, when the people sleep, the city goes quiet and still. In Delicia, even when the people sleep, the machines are still there, still moving very slowly, still turning, still keeping time. It is not an unsettling thing. It is actually very calming if you let it be, to know that something is quietly keeping watch, that the slow turning continues, even when you are not there to see it, that the world does not stop while you rest. It just gets quieter and slower and still in its own way. Let your body be very still now, like one of those machines that has slowed to its night pace, still there, still going, but very slow, very quiet, just the low hum, just the faint glow. Beyond Delicia, toward the center of the continent, is a place called Demonis. Demonis is the seat of power in Pywel. This is where the great houses are, where old families have lived for so many generations that their names are carved into the stone of their buildings, where political decisions are made in large rooms with high ceilings and very old furniture that no one ever sits in comfortably. It is a heavy city. You feel the weight of it when you walk through it, the weight of history, of decisions made here long ago that are still being felt, of power that has passed through many hands over many years and left a mark on every surface. Pywel is full of groups and factions, more than 100 of them by some counts. Great noble houses with long names and longer histories. Merchant companies that have been running the same trade routes for so many generations that the routes feel like they were always there. Groups of scholars who sit in dim rooms arguing about old texts and occasionally agree on something. Bands of fighters for hire who move from place to place, taking work where they can find it. Local groups who protect a particular stretch of forest, or a specific mountain pass, or a corner of the desert, and who have been doing so for as long as anyone can clearly remember. Each of these groups has its own rules, its own history, its own way of seeing the world, and its own idea of what the world owes them. And all of them exist together on the same land, not always peacefully, but together, finding ways to share roads and markets and rivers, finding ways to talk even when talking is hard, finding ways to keep going, because the alternative is something no one wants, too clearly. But Demonis has its quiet corners too, old gardens at the backs of buildings where trees have grown enormous and shade covers everything below them from midday until evening. Small courtyards where the sound of the city is muffled by stone on all sides and you can hear yourself think. Rooms in old towers where the only sound is wind against thick glass and the only light is a single lamp. Even in the most powerful place in Pywel, quiet finds a way. Quiet always finds a way. And then, finally, there is the fifth region, the one the whole world is named for, the Crimson Desert. If you could stand at the edge of the Crimson Desert as night falls, you would see something that takes a moment to understand. The sand is not yellow. It is not pale or tan or beige. It is red, a deep, dark red, the color of old brick, the color of dried roses, the color of the sky on certain evenings when the sun is very low and the whole world turns one color for just a few minutes before the light goes and everything goes dark. During the day, this red sand catches the sun and seems almost to glow from within. At the crests of dunes, where the sand is thin, light passes through it and turns warm orange. At dusk, when the sun is low and the shadows are long, the whole desert becomes something else, a color that does not have a name, somewhere between red and gold and brown, and something older than all of those, something that feels like a memory more than a color, something that you feel somewhere deep in your chest before you name it in your head. And then the light goes, and the desert cools. It cools quickly. The warmth that built up all day in the sand is released slowly, steadily, into the night air. The air above the desert at night is very still, very clear. There are no trees here to block the sky, no tall buildings, no clouds most nights, just the desert floor and the enormous sky above it, and the space between the two, and you, somewhere in the middle of all that. The stars over the crimson desert are extraordinary, with no light from any city to wash them out, no haze from moisture or smoke. They appear in numbers that are hard to believe until you see them. The sky is not just dotted with stars. It is full of them, layers of them. The bright ones, close and clear, and behind them, dimmer ones, going back so far that you stop being able to separate them, and they become a kind of glow, a softness spread across the dark, not individual points of light anymore, just light, just presence, just the feeling that there is a great deal out there, very far away, very old, very bright, and none of it has any particular interest in rushing. If you have never seen a sky like this, it is hard to describe. If you have, you do not need it described. You just need to close your eyes. And remember, close your eyes. Remember the biggest, clearest sky you have ever seen. Hold it very gently. Let it fill the space behind your closed eyes. All those points of light, all that darkness between them, all that silence beneath them, and the sound of the desert at night, which is almost no sound at all, just the very occasional shift of sand as something small moves across a dune, the very faint, very distant sound of wind somewhere far away that never quite reaches where you are, nothing else. Just the quiet breathing of a very old place resting in the dark. Across the crimson desert, there are oases, small green places hidden among the dunes. You might not know one is near until you are almost on top of it. The sand is all around you, and then the ground changes slightly underfoot, and then there are plants. Low ones at first, and then taller ones. Then, if the oasis is large enough, real trees, with shade, and beneath them, water. The sound of water in the middle of a desert is very different from the sound of water anywhere else. In a forest, water belongs. In a city, water is background noise. But in a desert, where everything is dry and still and red, for as far as you can see in every direction, the sound of water moving over stone is something else. It sounds like relief. It sounds like something that should not be here, but is. It sounds like a small miracle that has been quietly running for a very long time, without anyone asking it to stop. Travelers in the Crimson Desert know the oases. They carry their locations inside them, the way you carry the way home. They know how far it is between one water source and the next. They know which routes become harder in certain seasons. They move across the desert with a kind of practiced ease that comes from long experience. Not rushing, not forcing, just walking steadily toward the next known thing. one step, then another, then another. There's something very calming about that idea. Moving through something difficult or dry or long by knowing that there is water ahead, that you have made it through this kind of distance before, that the next resting place will appear when you need it, if you just keep going. But we are not walking tonight. We are resting. Let your body sink even further now. Let the red sand hold you. Let the stars be above you. Let the cool air of the desert at night settle around you. You have nowhere to go. There is nothing you need to do. The oasis is right here. You are already in it. The desert at night has a sound that is not quite silence, but is close enough that the difference does not matter. There might be a very soft wind moving across the tops of the dunes. It does not reach the ground. It just moves the very top layer of sand slightly, making a sound so quiet you would miss it if you were not paying attention. And you are paying attention. Or you were. But now you are not. Now you are letting that sound be there without listening to it, letting it be background, letting it be the sound that the quiet is made of, the kind of sound that, if it suddenly stopped, you would notice. But as long as it continues, you do not need to. You do not need to notice anything. You do not need to keep track of anything. Just breathe. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Now, let us talk about what lies above Pywel, above the clouds and the mountain peaks and the highest places any ordinary person ever goes. There is a realm called the Abyss. The Abyss is not part of the normal world. It exists separately. Connected to Pywel, yes, but not in a way that anyone fully understands. Even the scholars who have spent their whole lives studying it cannot say exactly what it is, where it begins, what it wants, if it wants anything, what it was before it was what it is now. It is reached by going very high, higher than birds fly, higher than weather, into a space where the rules of the world below start to change, where light comes from places you cannot identify, where silence has a different quality than any silence you have known before. The Abyss is made of floating islands, large pieces of stone and earth that hang in the air with nothing beneath them. No chain, no connection to anything. They simply float. And on these islands are ruins, old stone structures, arches and walls and towers, all covered in writing in a language that no one in Pywel can fully read. Not because they have not tried. They have tried very hard. The scholars of Demonis have sent groups of people up to the Abyss. Those people have spent long stretches of time up there, copying the writing carefully, bringing it back, comparing it to every other language ever recorded anywhere on the continent. And some of it can be read, pieces of it, fragments, enough to understand that it is very, very old. Old in a way that makes the oldest things in Pywel look recent. Old in a way that suggests this writing was made for a world that no longer exists, or for a world that has not existed yet. The light in the Abyss is pale, not the warm yellow of sunlight, not the cool blue of moonlight. Something between the two. Something that makes everything look slightly softer than it looks in the world below. Edges that are less sharp, colors that are less definite. Everything a little more like a memory than a fact. And the sound in the Abyss is different too. It is very quiet up there, but it is not an empty quiet. It is a full quiet, a quiet that you can feel pressing gently against you from all sides. Not threatening, just present, like something very large is resting very nearby, and its breath is what you are hearing instead of silence. There are beings in the abyss, very tall, very still. They glow faintly, the way something glows when the light is inside it, rather than shining on it from outside. They move slowly. They do not appear to need anything. They do not appear to want anything. They simply are. And when they do move, or when they do speak, it is with the calm certainty of things that have been here for a very long time, and plan to be here for a very long time more. They are not alarming. They are, somehow, very reassuring. To know that something old and calm and not in any hurry is up there, is always up there, watching the world below the way a very old lighthouse keeper watches the water, not intervening, not judging, just watching, just being there, across Pywel, connected to the abyss in ways that are still being understood. There are objects called abyss artifacts. They fall from the realm above. They fall slowly, turning end over end, glowing all the way down. And where they land, the land around them changes. Things grow differently near an abyss artifact, or do not grow at all, or grow in shapes and colors that have no other explanation. The air feels different. The light feels different. People are drawn to them. But there are also people who come to them simply for how they feel to be near, which is calm, very deeply calm, like standing near a large, still body of water late at night, like standing in a forest where the trees are very old and very tall, and the canopy is so thick above you that the rest of the world feels very far away. Something that is simply there, steady, not asking anything of you, just being what it is. People who spend the night near an abyss artifact say the same thing about their dreams. They are very clear, more clear than ordinary dreams, brighter, more real feeling in the way that some dreams feel more real than waking, full of places they have never been and people they have never met, but somehow recognize. The dreams near an abyss artifact do not frighten people. They calm them. They leave people feeling, when they wake, that they have seen something true, something that was there all along, just below the surface of ordinary things, something old and patient and still. Let your mind go very soft now. Let your thoughts do whatever they want to do. Do not hold any of them. Do not push any of them away. Just let them move the way water moves when nothing is pushing it, finding its own way, going wherever the ground takes it. You are near an abyss artifact tonight. Its light is pale blue and very gentle. It does not flicker. It is completely steady. The air around it smells like rain on warm stone, like something clean and old at the same time. You are completely safe here. You are held by something that has been here a very long time. That will be here a very long time after tonight. Rest. The animals of Pywel move through all of this, through the green forests of Hernan and the cold passes of Pelun and the red sand of the crimson desert. In Hernan, the forests are full of creatures that move between the trees so quietly you might walk past them 100 times without knowing they were there. They are curious. They watch from a distance. They do not come close right away. But if you are very still and very quiet and you stop actively looking for them, they will sometimes come closer on their own. A deer, stepping carefully between the roots of an old tree, its head low, ears moving in different directions, independently, reading the forest with parts of its body that you do not have. A fox sitting just at the edge of the undergrowth, watching you with very bright eyes, not afraid, just deciding. A bird landing on a branch just above your head, tilting its small head to one side, as if considering whether you are anything worth worrying about, deciding that you are not, and staying. They do not need you to be anything particular. They just want to see what you are. And once they have seen, they go back to what they were doing before, which is just living in the forest, the way they always have. There are also smaller things you would only notice if you were very still and very quiet, and paying close attention to the ground around your feet. Tiny beetles moving through the leaf litter with great purpose. A spider, very still at the center of a web that catches the last of the light in thin silver lines. A moth resting on the underside of a leaf, completely still, wings pressed flat. All of them going about the work of being alive. All of them doing what they do without any awareness of the larger world around them, without any awareness of Pywel, or the gray manes, or the abyss above. Just a leaf, just the web, just the small piece of ground they're on right now. There's something very restful about creatures like this, about the way they are completely in their moment, not thinking about what happened before, not thinking about what comes next. Just here, just this. You can be like that right now. Just here, just this breath, just this moment. Nothing before it and nothing after it needs your attention. Just this. In Pywel, the creatures are built for the cold. They have thick coats that the wind moves through without touching them. They move across ice with a care and a precision that speaks of very long practice. They know how to read the mountain in ways that take people years to learn, and that these animals seem to simply know from the start. They have learned the same things the people of Pywel have learned, just in their own way. That this place is hard and beautiful and worth knowing. That the cold is not something to fight. It is something to understand. And once you understand it, you can live inside it instead of against it. In the crimson desert, the creatures come out when the heat drops. At dusk, they begin to move, crossing the sand in long, smooth paths, following routes that have been followed for so long they are visible from above as faint lines in the red ground, going toward water, going toward food, going about their lives in the quiet dark, without fuss, without drama, just moving, just living, just being exactly what they are, where they are, in the dark, in the cool, in the quiet. And then there are creatures that move through the sky above all of Pywel, creatures that are older than any of the regions, older than any name, creatures that the old stories of every culture on the continent describe, each in their own words, but all recognizing the same thing. Very large, very old, moving with a slowness that is not weakness. That is just the pace of something that has nowhere urgent to be. The sky above Pywel holds these shadows sometimes, very large shadows, moving slowly against the stars, banking on the warm air that rises from the red desert, gliding low over mountain passes, with wings spread wide. People who see them stop what they are doing. They stop and look up, and for just a moment, everything else goes quiet. Not just the sound of the world, the sound inside their own heads. All of it goes quiet, and there's just the shadow moving across the sky, and the feeling of being very small in a very large world, but not in a bad way. Never in a bad way. In the way that makes you feel like you are part of something. Part of a world that has been going on for a very long time and will keep going. That has room in it for all of it. For the cities and the deserts and the mountains and the forests. For the machines that turn slowly in the dark. For the ruins that float in a pale sky above the clouds, for the old creatures moving through the night, for the people sleeping in their camps, in their beds, and their homes. All of it together, all of it at once, all of it right now. The Greymanes make camp wherever they can, sometimes inside a city, in a rented space, behind a stable, or at the edge of a market square. Sometimes at the edge of a forest, where the trees are close enough to break the wind, but not so close that you cannot see the sky through the gap. Sometimes on a ridge, high up, where the view in the morning makes every step of the climb feel like it was worth it. Wherever they are, the camp looks roughly the same. A few tents in a rough circle, a fire in the middle, the smell of wood smoke and worn leather, and whatever food there is, the sounds of people finishing the tasks of the day before things go quiet. Someone seeing to the horses, someone mending something that got torn on the road, someone going through their pack, someone filling a water skin from whatever source is near. These are the small rituals of people who have lived this way for a long time. Nobody needs to tell anyone what to do. Everyone knows what needs doing. Everyone does it. And then, one by one, they stop. They sit down near the fire. They eat. They do not talk about much at first. Just the sounds of eating, the fire, the dark around the edges of the camp. And then someone says something small, an observation about the road they walked today. A memory that came up for no clear reason. Something that made them think of something else. And the conversation goes where it goes, slowly, without direction. The way conversations go when there's nowhere to be, and nothing is expected of anyone. The fire goes down as they talk. The talking gets slower as the fire gets smaller, until there is just the quiet, and the glow of the coals, and the slow breathing of people who are almost asleep. Unka is usually the first. He lies back, and he is simply asleep. No process, no transition you can see. Just here and then gone into rest. His breathing immediately slow and even. His face relaxed in a way it never quite is when he is awake. Yan takes longer. His mind is always moving, and it takes a while to slow down enough to let him go. He might lie there for a while, staring at the sky, his eyes not focused on anything in particular, just looking, just letting his thoughts do what they do, until eventually they slow, and he follows them into sleep, curled on his side, one hand tucked under his face, gone somewhere, far from the fire and the camp. Nera lies on her back. She looks at whatever piece of sky is visible from where she is lying. A few stars, the edge of a cloud moving slowly through. She breathes, once, twice, and then she is asleep. And Cliff sits a little longer. He always does. He watches the fire. He holds, sometimes, a small, smooth stone that he picked up off a road somewhere. He does not remember exactly where. Somewhere flat and quiet, where the road ran along a riverbank, and he stopped for a moment and picked this up without quite deciding to. It does not matter where it is from. He holds it because it is familiar, because it is small and real, and fits exactly in his hand. He sits with the sounds of the camp, the slow breathing, the last crackle of the coals, the night sounds from wherever they are. He sits with the fact that his people are here, that the fire is warm, that tomorrow will come when it comes, that right now there is just this, the fire, the dark, the slow breathing of people he trusts with everything. He puts the stone down, he lies back, and he closes his eyes, and he sleeps. The crimson desert cools in the night. The red sand holds the last of the day's warmth for a while, then slowly lets it go. The dunes are very still. The oases are dark, the leaves barely moving in any air. The paths between the dunes, worn by many feet over many years, are empty now. The merchants who travel these paths are resting somewhere. Their animals are resting too. Heads down, eyes closed, breathing slow and steady, the way animals breathe when they are safe, and they know it. The desert does not need anyone to be awake right now. It is fine on its own. It has been fine on its own for a very long time. It will be fine when morning comes and people start moving through it again. But right now, it is just the desert. Just the red sand cooling, just the stars above, just the quiet. In Hernand, the forests have gone completely quiet. The birds are asleep, each one settled into its particular spot. A hollow in a branch, the fork of two limbs, high up, a nest tucked into a place that only that bird knows. The deer are lying down in their clearings, legs folded under them, their breathing slow and even. Even the insects, who make so much noise in the warm hours, have gone still. The enormous old trees stand in the dark without moving. They have stood in the dark for a very, very long time. They will stand for a very, very long time more. They do not think about it. They do not need to. They just stand. They just grow. Slowly, always slowly, one ring at a time, in the dark and the quiet and the rain and the sun.
Devil of the reed
Always
fields,
growing,
I have
always
come to
standing.
claim your
In
head.
Pywel, the mountains are dark shapes against a sky full of stars. The snow on the high peaks is faintly blue in the starlight. The passes are empty. The old carved paths are empty. The stone is cold and still. Everything up there is as it always is at this hour. Cold, still, very, very quiet. The kind of quiet that only very cold places have. A quiet that feels solid, like you could reach out and touch it, like it has weight and substance and a temperature of its own. The mountains do not notice the quiet. They do not notice anything. They have been here since before there were people to notice them. They will be here long after. And in that long, slow span of time, this particular night is just one night among many. Just one quiet moment in an unbroken line of quiet moments stretching back and forward, further than any thought can reach. In Deminis, the last lamps in the last windows are going out one by one. The great stone buildings are dark. The courtyards are empty. Everything that was loud and busy and full of the weight of decisions is now just stone and dark, and the low sound of wind moving through empty streets. In Deletia, the machines have slowed to almost nothing. Their lights are at their lowest. Their turning is so slow, it is almost not there at all. Just the faintest hum, just the softest glow, still going, still steady, still there. And above all of it, the abyss is quiet too. The pale light is steady and soft. The floating islands are still. The ruins are dark. Tall, glowing beings stand without moving, as they always do, patient, present, watching, not needing to do anything, just being there. Everything in Pywel is at rest. The world is dark and large and old and resting. You're somewhere in it tonight, not on a road, not searching for anything, not carrying anything, just resting, just breathing, just here. Your body's heavy, your arms are heavy, your legs are heavy, your eyes are closed. Your breath is slow, in and out, in and out. The sand is cool beneath you. The stars are very bright above. The fire is a soft red glow to your left. The mountains are somewhere out there in the dark, holding everything steady the way they always have. The machines are turning so slowly, you can barely hear them. The ancient beings stand still and glowing above a world that does not need them to do anything except be there. And that is enough. It is more than enough. You do not need to hold on to anything right now. Not a single thing. Let it all be somewhere else. Everything you were thinking about when the day ended. Everything you were planning for tomorrow. Everything you were turning over and looking at from different angles. It is all still there. It will all be there in the morning. You do not need to look at any of it right now. Right now, there is only this. The slow breath, the heavy body, the dark, the quiet, the world at rest. Let go, let sleep come. Let it come slowly, the way sleep always does, when you stop trying to make it happen, and just let the dark and the quiet do what they do. You are safe. You are held. You are exactly where you need to be. The crimson desert is out there. Red sand and clear stars, and the sound of almost nothing. The mountains of Pywel are out there, cold and still and very old. The forests of Hernand are out there, dark and deep and full of things sleeping. The machines of Delesia are still turning, very slowly, very quietly, still going. The abyss is still there above everything, pale and steady and patient. And somewhere on this vast continent, in a camp somewhere, a small fire has burned down to its last warm coals, and 4 people are sleeping around it, breathing slowly, together, at rest. Let yourself be one of them tonight. Let the fire be near. Let the dark be around you. Let the people you trust be close, or let the memory of them be close, which is almost the same thing. And sleep. Just sleep. The world of Pywel will be here when you wake up. The desert will still be red. The mountains will still be cold. The old forests will still be standing. Everything will still be there, waiting, patient, unhurried, the way old things always are. But that is morning, and morning is very far away. Right now, there's only right now. This breath, this dark, this quiet, this rest. The world will ask things of you. Again. Not tonight. Tonight, it is asking nothing. Tonight, the world is the crimson desert, going cool and quiet in the dark. Tonight, the world is 4 people breathing slowly around a fire that has burned itself down to something gentle and red and small. Tonight, the world is old mountains holding still, old trees standing, old machines turning so slowly you cannot see it, old light, steady and pale, in a realm above the clouds. Everything old, everything still, everything at rest, and you, here, breathing, just breathing, in and out. That is all. That is enough. Good night.